The Dukes of Dents. Not long ago in the district of Dents, a strange little place inside a square fence, there lived two old miserly men, the Dukes of Dents. Now, as with most dukes is often the case, both of these dukes were crooked in the face. And they owned a massive, miserly machine database. This machine controlled everything in Dents, every single thing inside that square fence. And they called their machine the MMMD, an all-seeing eye with which all they could see.
Why, we are the two Dukes of Dents, you see. Our faces are printed on all of Dents's money.
Every person born or breathing in Dents had to pay these two dukes to live inside their fence. People did not want to pay those dukes, but that didn't really matter. The people could yell, scream, chant, rant, and chatter. They could even gather in the streets and wave their fists and hands. The dukes never backed down or gave in to demands. The dukes owned all of the water and electricity inside the fence, hence it isn't very hard to conclude that they also owned all the banks, dressmakers, cake bakers, newspapers, goat farms, fire alarms, streetcars. They even owned all the food.
Besides, it has always been this way,
said the Dents dress mender, who was born years ago on a cold, dense December. This is how things work, said the bank's moneylender. It's been like this for as long as I remember.
We all need the dukes,
said the girl who grooms goats.
Best to keep our heads down and not rock the boat.
And just to be sure, the dukes owned all of the stuff, and the people of Dents never called the dukes bluff. The dukes hired police, who were mean, rough, and tough, who pounded on people and took them in cuffs, so long as the dukes knew to pay them enough. As if all of this stuff wasn't already enough to keep Dents folks tied up and tethered, it was rumored to be that their MMMD could even control the Dents weather. But the most important tool that those dukes used to rule is what made all the Dents people fools, who never asked questions and followed their rules. You guessed it, the Dents Public School. In their defense, the dukes were not Dents. The one thing they feared was children's minds, for if they ever figured out what those dukes brought about, they'd team up and throw those dukes out, right over the Dents fence. It's common sense, after all. So the dukes hatched a plan, like a clever cabal. They typed their plan into their MMMD, and it agreed.
Rules, rules, rules.
And their schools sure taught rules aplenty.
Obey, obey, obey,
they would say.
And make sure you're awake by 6:20. Just do as we say. We won't lead you astray.
Their teachers would all say in sync.
Just repeat what we tell you and don't question why or demand to be taught how to think.
Their parents agreed.
Yes, look there. See, that's the way. The dukes work hard from their plush palace yard, sitting counting their fortunes all day.
and one day you too can be like the dukes with plenty of fine wine to drink. If you just work hard, you might own a backyard and wash plates in your own golden sink.
Those dukes know best. Just look at their success.
They say thinking brings chaos, not order.
Don't be overzealous, or strangers will get jealous and come pillage and tear down our borders.
And that's the problem with not thinking, not questioning things, not trying. The Dents were too dim to think for themselves and discover those two dukes were lying. Nobody grew rich like the dukes, as they were all promised and told. Very few people were happy, and even fewer grew old. Sometimes you can still hear on a brisk autumn day
It has always been this way.
from the dense dress mender, who was born like her mother on a cold, dense December. This is how things work. From the bank moneylender. It's been like this for as long as I remember.
We all need the dukes.
From the girl who grooms goats.
Best to keep our heads down and not rock the boat.
Life was hard and very tense. Life was very difficult for the people of Dents, except, of course, for those two crafty dukes, counting their fortune inside their square fence. One last thing before you go. There are words in this story you may not yet know. There is a book called a dictionary, and that's where you must go to teach yourself words like miserly and overzealous, so that you know exactly what they mean. For one day you might face the Duke's miserly machine. By the way, in your defense, you are much, much smarter than those people of Dents.
Not long ago, in the district of Dents, a strange little place inside a square fence, there lived two old miserly men, the Dukes of Dents.